Everybody shut up and action. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. A new movie from the Kingdom of the Apes or Planet of the Apes franchise. There's already been 3 movies. I only remember the first one, to be honest. The first movie is pretty memorable, and I just remember that being a movie that scared me as a kid, and it was just a good movie in general. I know there are 2 other movies which I know I've seen but completely forgotten, but I know the trilogy as a whole was actually a pretty good trilogy, exciting, and now we have a new franchise starting up in the same universe, thousands of years after the events of the original trilogy, where history's kind of lost itself through time, and there's a new ape whose village is lost to another ape who captured them and enslaved them in his own power-hungry search for power over a species struggle where there isn't really a species struggle undergoing at the time, and it just really depicts the other ape going for a power-hungry sort of vibe or scenario, personality, whatever. But like it makes for an interesting movie, a journey of an ape trying to reclaim his homeland not homeland, but like his clan, save his clan, all at the same time learning about the true history of the past and Caesar and everything he's done. Caesar's the ape from the first trilogy, and honestly, it makes for quite a interesting story over a grand scheme. Like, this franchise has been confirmed for like 9 new movies. Obviously, Warner Brothers is trying to like flesh this franchise out because they know that they can flesh it out for a lot of money from audiences. And honestly, I think I got hope for this, because this movie as a whole, it's got a really interesting premise. If you want to talk about, oh my god, this ape and his power-hungry struggle, this species struggle for power and supremacy over technology, blah, 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 blah. It makes for an interesting conversation with your friends after the movie, and like on the deeper tones of the movie. But like, just as a film franchise in general, and just in the movie in general, the entire story is enticing as hell. Having these apes trying to relearn the history of Caesar and what his values were back in his time. Other apes kind of manipulating and changing his words to be what they want them to be and how they interpret it to be. Other apes trying to correct them. Other apes not trying to correct them. This entire theme of slavery. Humans appearing, not being as stupid as the virus made them out to be. So they somehow kept their intelligence. It makes for a really interesting story in this power struggle. A lot of dynamics going on between the apes, the humans, the apes between each other, interpersonal relations. It makes for a really, really interesting story. The only complaint I have, literally, is while this entire story is really intriguing to follow, the entire middle portion of the movie, the entire second act, just really bores you out. Like, yeah, there are plenty of moments throughout this movie you're enticed to the story. Everything is enticing. It's interesting. The characters, their relations, their story progression, their values, their ideals, all that typical character design stuff. It's really interesting. It creates a base layer, but its execution just kind of bores you in the entire middle segment. Whenever there's no action, you get the story, you understand the story. The story in itself is interesting, but the movie just doesn't capture your eyes. It doesn't capture your heart. I mean, it does capture your eyes, actually, because the entire CGI aspect is absolutely gorgeous. The cinematics is absolutely gorgeous. The CGI is actually really well done for this movie. Like, holy crap. But, like, as a whole, the entire narrative development from just the viewer's point, it just gets boring. The only thing that's really hooking you is the base story that you're just grasping on, and like the visuals themselves. But like it kind of just bores you and gets you tired and makes you just start dozing. But like, you don't fall asleep, of course. But like, you're just in that mindset where you're like kind of wanting to doze off. But at the same time, you're kind of hooked to the story. You're intrigued by it, by the deeper aspects of it at least, and like the character in general, and seeing how they progress. The action feels kind of stale, but it's still interesting to watch. You want to stick with it and see how the story progresses, how all these different characters will evolve and grow together. The human-ape bond. Will we get another bond? Will they be able to live together in peace and harmony? Will they separate their own ways? Will there be another entire power struggle? And the ending of the movie, it keeps it vague as well as interesting, and feels so concise on a good ending for the entire first movie, and it gives hope for a second movie being just as good or better than this from a base, deep storytelling point of view. And overall, I'm just going to say it's an interesting story to watch unfold and watch in general. Visually, it's amazing. Is it rewatchable? Not really. I mean, the first 3 I'm going to rewatch anyway, but because I haven't seen them in a while and I want to understand the origins of the story. But like, it feels like it'll lead to a great new franchise. I don't know if it can fit 9 movies, but I know it can fit another couple for sure, and it looks like it'll be an interesting story progression. I don't want to say too much on it, but because it's a spoiler-free review. But it definitely looks like it'll be a really interesting movie between humans, apes, and their kinds, interspecies, and all that technology and future advancements in their development of societies in general. It makes for the entire story looks like it'll be really interesting and really fun and thrilling, and as well, hopefully, I mean, in the future they do a better job in trying to tell the story so it doesn't like bore you out as much. But at the same time, I really want to see where this deeper level of the story goes, and it will make for interesting conversations for sure after the movie. Where if you want to talk about, oh look, if you want to compare this power struggle to humans in this current time wanting more power, wanting this, wanting that, how societies are developing, blah 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 blah. But like just in general, in a primitive sort of sense, it makes for a really interesting, captivating story to watch. What do I rate it? I give it a solid 76%. It wasn't that bad, actually. I actually really enjoyed the story. The visuals were beautiful. Everything about it was actually really nice. It just has this boring part. That's literally my only complaint. It really got boring in the middle there. And that's actually not half a bad thing. Otherwise, it was actually a really interesting movie to watch. So I would say if you're interested in this type of story, check it out. Honestly, I think actually you should just check this out in general. It's a pretty good movie to watch. So check it out. Peace.